Welcome back to The Future is Now. Today, to celebrate the beginning of the new decade, we're going to talk about the beautiful 20s. Hey Cody, do you remember about the Winnipeg General Strike?
Oh boy, do I. Who doesn't forget that moment in Canadian history? I remember what I wasn't doing.
What's that?
Working. But even though that ruined the economy for a couple of years and laid many people off work, it still came back better than ever.
Yes, it did. There was also a huge uprising in pulp and paper, hydroelectric power, and oil and gas industries.
Don't forget mining in the Canadian Shield.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that one. Anyways, businesses got steady production and companies just kept on producing, causing many job openings, more consumer consumption, and a great economy.
Also, industries and stock markets of agriculture, metal, gas, and electricity really got back on their feet after a few years.
I still remember when the politics were starting to change as well. Since the economy was starting to get back on their feet, the country wanted political changes as well.
Oh yeah, I remember that. After PM Borden resigned on July 10th, it was a political war between William Mackenzie King and Arthur Mahan.
Personally, I like Mackenzie King for what he left for our country. He created the old age pension, welfare, and family allowance plans. He also created a much better trade industry with the United States.
I think I could say this for a lot of people. Mahan didn't seem to have any huge impact during this time in office like King did. I think this is why King was elected again during the next election a few months later.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Cody. Mackenzie King is a much-loved Prime Minister.
Now we're going to give you a commercial break, and then when we get back, we'll talk about famous Canadian and American criminals during this booming and reviving decade.
What do you get when two of Americans' favorite foods come together to make one great snack? No, that's not it. Oh, I know. Peanut butter jelly sandwich. That's right. The simple combination of peanut butter, jelly, and bread can make you a snack that will drive you bananas. But there's no bananas in our sandwich. Indeed, there are no bananas. Just Peter Pan peanut butter, Smucker's grape jelly, and Wonder Bread. And these are all of the highest quality. And you pick these up at a grocery store, specialty store, a apothecary, or speakeasy. Just don't tell the fuzz. And remember, get your PB&J today.
Okay, welcome back to The Future is Now. To continue off from where we left off, we're going to be talking about the big and bad criminals of the decade.
I'm really excited for this one. There's famous Al Capone and John Dillinger in the United States. Also here in our own backyard of Canada, we had Johnny Pops Papalia.
Oh yeah, Johnny Pops Penalia. He was one of the biggest criminals during his time, supplying over 80% of America's heroin market. He was a made man after the economic crash in the early decade. Then once the economy boomed, he was set.
Also, I don't think anyone forgets, even us Canadians, about Al Capone, probably the biggest criminal of all time.
Yes, even though Al Capone was a criminal, he was probably one of the sneakiest people around, owning almost all of Chicago City. For a very long time, he wasn't able to be legally charged with any crime at all. Every murder wasn't committed by him, but his bodyguards. The money he made by the alcohol smuggling wasn't even on any documents, so he couldn't be charged. Later on, the only thing he was charged for, though, was for not paying his taxes.
I still remember the Valentine's Massacre to this day. Earlier this year, February 14th, 1929, Capone's bodyguards dressed up like police officers and pinned some of their rival gang members to the wall. Then the bodyguards pulled out their machine guns and killed 6 members of the gang.
I think we should leave you with another break. Next up, to add a more upbeat feel, we'll talk about sports.
Those are two things you'll find in Camels. No other cigarette has Camel's rich, full flavor. The flavor of costly tobaccos, properly aged and expertly blended. And no other cigarette gives you this conclusive evidence of mildness. In a coast-to-coast test, hundreds of people smoked only Camels for 30 days. Each week, noted throat specialists examined the throats of these smokers and reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. Yes, that's proof of mildness, based on day-in, day-out smoking. Not just a sniff or a puff. Make your own 30-day Camel mildness test, the sensible test, the thorough test. You'll enjoy Camel's rich, full flavor from first
How mild can a cigarette be? The Camel burning and you'll see. Smoke Camel and see.
Welcome back. You sports fanatics are going to love this part. We're going to recap the decade's sports highlights.
This decade was amazing for sports. Rising stars, new sports, the starting of a whole new era in leagues and the Olympics.
My favorite baseball player, Babe Ruth, was traded to the New York Yankees from the Boston Red Sox, hitting 54 home runs, setting a new record.
Babe Ruth is an amazing all-around player, starting out as a pitcher, then becoming a batter later on. Also, my favorite recap of sporting in this is the creation of the National Football League and Canadian football starting back up in 1920. Football is now my favorite sport, and it's very fun to watch. The most memorable game of Canadian football, in my opinion, was the University of Toronto versus Toronto Argonauts for the Grey Cup, with over 10,000 witnessing how the University of Toronto came back from losing 4-1 and wrecking the Argos 16-4. This was the first Grey Cup championship since the beginning of the Great War.
That game is one of the sporting highlights that always comes to my mind. Football is such a great sport. It's like a more strategized rugby. But I don't think anyone forgets the Olympics in 1924 and 1928 as well.
Oh yes, that's when the Winter Olympics were created, taking place in Chermont, France, with over 258 participants and 16 nations competing. Now the Winter Olympics will be a favorite for generations to come.
At the end, Norway came first with 4 gold medals, 7 silver, 6 bronze medals, with a total of 17. Finland came in second place overall with 4 gold medals, 4 silver, and 3 bronze for a total of 11 medals. Austria was third in the games with 2 gold medals and 1 silver medal.
Unfortunately, Canada won 1 medal in the Olympics, at least winning gold for none other than hockey.
Also, 4 after that, the 1928 Summer Olympics, women's athletics and gymnastics were now Olympic events. Now, after this commercial break, we'll talk to you about books and fashion of the decade.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avant brand new Beauty Lock portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Lock is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra long extension cord, you can move around while printing your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Almonche gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
Okay, welcome back to The Future is Now. And to continue our decade recap broadcast, we're talking about fashion and books. To begin with fashion, the 20s changed rapidly. Females began changing their style with glamorous dresses and long hair, to rebellious flappers dressing more like a male with tight clothes and short hair, while the men were starting to dress more like classy, wearing tuxedos and suits more constantly.
Oh yeah, I remember that trend. It was the cat's pajamas. I guess I went through that phase a little, but anyways, let's forget about that. Let's not forget about the famous books written in this decade, The Great Gatsby and Winnie the Pooh.
I still have both of those books. The Great Gatsby was about a rich man enjoying the party of his life while waiting to be with his girlfriend again.
That's a great book to relate to about this iconic drop. Also, Winnie the Pooh was based on a true story of a soldier in World War I finding a bear cub and raising it as his own. I think I've heard that it may be turned into a children's book. So if any adults out there wanted to get a children's book in a few years, there you go.
Okay, I think that this finishes the broadcast with Tyler and I. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.